Hi, I'm Jared Fisher. I'm one of the elders here at Fremont, and today we are looking at Luke chapter 12. So far in Luke, we've gotten used to this rhythm of Jesus teaching and then powerfully delivering or healing, kind of going back and forth in one chapter. But in today's chapter, chapter 12, he's teaching all the way through, and it's an interesting scene. So we don't know where this is, other than that he's systematically making his way south to Jerusalem, and he's been teaching in all the towns and villages along the way. He's just in the last chapter, he just had lunch with this group of religious leaders, and he had some very heavy warnings for them, and now he's back outside, and he's with his disciples, but he's surrounded by what verse 1 describes as this crowd of many thousands who are trampling on each other. So even though he has this huge audience, most of today's teaching is it's directed at his disciples. There's just a couple of points in this chapter where he kind of lifts up his head and addresses the crowd at large. Today's teaching, it's structured around three warnings. We have the warning against hypocrisy, and a warning against greed, and a warning to be ready, to stay ready for the surprising return of Jesus. And being attentive to those first two, hypocrisy and greed, are a part of what it means to be attentive to that third event that he's warning us about. In the first few chapters of Luke, we had this sense that this new baby, Jesus, was going to be bringing something that was just cosmically transformative. You know, he is presented as this hinge point between the old age of death and fear and contempt and destruction, and this new age of life and courage and love and restoration and goodness. But he complicates that meme. He confuses his cousin John because he's not bringing these radical existential shifts to reality. The headlines aren't changing. So instead, he's bringing change one targeted person at a time. People of all kinds are being delivered, and they're recognizing that Jesus is the one with the authority of God. He talks a lot about judgment, and the transformation that are to come. And he's explained that he must suffer and die and be raised to life. But I think today's chapter, it's the first time in Luke that he has a teaching that implies he's going to be visibly off the scene for a while before coming back to decisively end this age. There's a couple other teachings to come, but I think this is the first one in Luke where he kind of starts to open up the possibility of him being gone for a while. So his disciples then and his disciples now were living in the old age. And we're called out of the old age, and it seems like it's going to trample us. But we are called to work with the Holy Spirit, to be creating a community together that lives in the world as a visible expression to us and to them of the new age to come that is otherwise invisible. And the main examples that we looked at in today's chapter of how to do that are to be aggressively rooting out hypocrisy and greed out of our own hearts and out of our church that we create together. You know, do we, in our interactions together, do we model confession and transparency and weakness? Is the center of our community together, is it a stage, or is it our forgiveness and our adoption? Do we structure our lives creatively to be able to give, and are our role models people who don't store up for themselves? This year, 2021, it's going to be about re-engaging with our communities, and particularly with our Fremont family, with each other. So let's be intentional about how we do this, looking for ways to build honesty and humility and generosity into every interaction. Have a good week.